Huge breaking news from the Premier League, specifically with Leicester City, because Brendan Rodgers is no longer their manager. We've just heard this news, and Leicester have just released a statement as well. And Leicester say that this was a mutual agreement. OK, he's been in charge of the team for 4 years. And I'll read the statement in just a moment. But we understand that there was a meeting this morning between the club and Brendan Rodgers, and it was decided it would be best for all parties if he leaves his role with immediate effect. Remember, Leicester have gone 6 Premier League games without a win, and they dropped into the bottom 3 yesterday after that late defeat at Crystal Palace, which we're just showing you the pictures of right there. So we understand this all happened this morning. However, let me just read the statement out to you. It says, Brendan departs the King Power Stadium as one of the most successful managers in the club's history, having guided us to our long-awaited first FA Cup triumph. That was in 2021, the FA Community Shield in the same year, 2 of the club's 3 highest Premier League finishes and consecutive European campaigns, including our first European semi-final in 2022. Remember, on the last day of the season, 2 years in a row, they just missed out on Champions League and finished 5th. They went into Europa League instead. Now, we're also told that assistant manager Chris Davies and first-team fitness coach Glenn Driscoll have also left the club as well. So it's not just Brendan Rodgers. Right, what happens now? Well, immediate responsibility for the men's first-team training and match preparation will be led by the club's long-serving first-team coach. That's Adam Sadler and Mike Stowell. So this is just into us. And we do now have a statement from the Leicester City chairman, Ayawat Shivadanaprava. He said, the achievements of the team under Brendan's management speak for themselves. We've experienced some of our finest footballing moments under his guidance. I will always be grateful to him and his staff for the heights they helped us reach on the pitch. Off the pitch, Brendan embraced the culture of the club and helped cultivate an outstanding developmental environment, particularly during the transition to Seagrave, that's the new training base, I believe, and provided strong leadership during the unprecedented challenge of the coronavirus pandemic. His place in Leicester City's history is assured. And there's one final paragraph here from the chairman. However, performances and results during the current season have been below our shared expectations. It had been our belief that continuity and stability would be key to correcting our course, particularly given our previous achievements under Brendan's management. Regrettably, the desired improvement has not been forthcoming, and with 10 games of the season remaining, the board is compelled to take alternative action to protect our Premier League status. And actually, that little sentence there suggests that it wasn't mutual. It suggests like it was their decision. All right, the task ahead of us in our final 10 games is clear. We now need to come together, fans, players and staff, and show the poise, quality and fight to secure our position as a Premier League club. So huge breaking news there that Brendan Rodgers is no longer the Leicester City manager. Anton Ferdinand and Jamie O'Hara, they're watching this game at the London Stadium, which of course has a huge effect on the relegation battle as well. Let's get immediate reaction because Jamie, earlier on, you were saying you didn't expect Rodgers to go because you don't think Leicester could get anybody who can do as well as Brendan Rodgers in keeping them up.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, the performances have been below par, and you look at the results recently, it's been shocking. And you know, if it was earlier on in the season, and I said it earlier on, you know, maybe it was time for him to go. But when it's this late in the season, you know, you've got 10 games left. Who's going to come in? That's the question. Because Brendan Rodgers, you know, you've seen it in all the statements that they've given out. He has had a fantastic reign as Leicester City manager. And he is, for me, a top manager. This season's been poor, but they've had a lot of injuries. They've lost key players. You know, players are coming to the end of their contracts who want to leave. They've had a lot going on at the football club. And for me, it's been a difficult time. Who comes in and makes the difference now at the end of the season? Because there's not many managers out there.
And remember that when they hired Rodgers, that was very ambitious, and they managed to get him from Celtic. You wonder if they do have something up their sleeve. But Anton, at the moment, the statement, the wording is always quite important. Immediate responsibility for men's first-team training is Adam Sadler and Mike Stowell. Now, it doesn't say till the end of the season or anything like that, but it also doesn't say that they've got someone lined up. They do have a game on Tuesday night, and if they've only got 10 games left, this one at home against Aston Villa is vital. When you hear that, do you think that maybe actually they are close to appointing someone in time for that game?
I think they could be, but I think even if a new manager came in now, he ain't going to be able to stamp his authority on the team straight away. You know, you need a few days training with the players to actually try and ingrain some of his beliefs in the way he wants them to play. So I think even if a new manager came in tomorrow or the day after that, I think the people that are taking charge now will still do that game. You know, because it's an important game. Like every game is, the last 10 games, every game's important. Every game's a 6-pointer for them. You know, so I think that won't benefit the next game, but they need to get somebody, and they need to get somebody in sharpish to get a foothold and get some belief back into these players.
Jamie, one thing that went wrong for Leicester and Brendan Rodgers, the coronavirus pandemic affected finances for everyone, but you know that it affected Leicester more than most.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
The club's owner's money was from duty-free, and all the airports were closed. I mean, that is pure bad luck on that part. But Rodgers, of course, didn't get as much money as he maybe would have had.
Well, they didn't sign anyone, did they? I mean, let's be honest, they didn't sign anyone. It's only in January they brought in a few, but you know, not only did they not sign anyone, they lost players. You know, they lost key players, and you know, you talk about leaders in a dressing room. You know, Schmeichel, you lost him. Players, Fofana, you've lost your best centre-half. You've lost your best keeper. Jamie Vardy, for me, is obviously coming to the end of his era of being a top striker. So, you know, Tillmans is coming to the end of his contract. He's picked up an injury, but he didn't really want to be there at the start of the season. So they lost the backbone of a side that was hugely successful under Brendan Rodgers. And then sometimes, look, he's been there for 4 years. Sometimes he just gets a bit sour, gets a bit tired. You need a new voice. Training's not the same. You lose a bit of tempo. And that's just what happens. I used to have such a huge changeover in managers all the time. I think he's a brilliant manager, Brendan Rodgers. I think he'll go on and have another brilliant job in the Premier League. I just think Leicester now are banging trouble, because who do you bring in? Unless they've got something up their sleeve that no one knows about yet and we'll hear about very soon. I don't know if there's a manager who's going to give them a massive bounce that they need, because the form has been shocking. So it's going to be really interesting. That game on Tuesday night is massive for the club. Huge.